Hello, my friends. Dr. Nikki here, and I am with Marcy Javril. She is a wellness coach, and she's going to teach us about brain cleansing. It's a special massage that she's going to show us how to do and then why it's important. Let's start actually with the why. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you, Dr. Nikki. It's so great to be with you.
Such a
You've got such
pleasure.
great energy. When I first met you, I thought, oh, wow, this girl has big energy. And
Thank you.
lymph is all about vitality.
Thank you.
And that's my nickname for myself, is vitality, because the lymph is your internal shower. It's the reason that your cells get cleaned. So it's not the blood that's cleaning it. It's plasma from the blood that moves into the tissue like water in a sponge. And it goes out all through your body. And when it goes back to the blood, it needs to be cleaned. So that's the lymph obligatory load. And it's got excess proteins, excess sugar, excess bacteria, all the things that don't belong in the blood or in the tissue. All the waste gets eliminated by the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system was recently found to actually exist in the brain. Up until 2015, we didn't realize that the brain had its own lymphatic shower.
Wow.
And that's why I'm so dedicated now. So many things going on with our heads and our brains: Alzheimer's, Lyme, ADHD, brain cancer, congestion, sinusitis, respiratory problems. They all seem to be focused a lot on our heads. And we can access our own lymphatic system with our hands. That's why I'm so excited to offer this to the regular people. You don't have to go to massage school, because basically you're going to mobilize fluid between the skin layer and encourage it towards your waste elimination system. It's not woo-woo, it's not magic, it's not color therapy or oils or anything. It's pure mechanics. It's bioscience. And that's another reason that I really love it, because there's no like, well, is it working? Yeah, it's working. If you use the gentle touch and the repetitive rhythm, and you treat your body like a body of water, then you will get results.
Yeah, I love that. And the results that people can expect is some clarity of the brain, or
Yes.
what else are some results that you expect?
Well, not just of the brain, but all functions, right? So if you have congestion in your waterways, if your waterways are muddy and they're full of things, what I call the garbage trucks are on the same road as the SWAT team,
Yeah.
right? So here you are, you're eating things that aren't good for you, and you're feeling a little inflammation and swelling and congestion. Maybe you're not supposed to eat dairy and you are, and you're all kind of congested. So now you get a cold, well, but you're already congested. So now the cold has a petri dish to live in, and now it just really gets stuck, and the mud turns from just flowing mud to solid mud. So the lymph in its good natural state should be more like olive oil. But what happens, and you can see it on people's faces, you can see that they've got congestion and that it's a little poofy, and so you can know that that's probably lymphatic congestion. And what's going to happen is, when you start moving that, you're going to feel the mucus moving out of your head and your throat, and it might make you cough a little. The lymph only moves through muscle contraction, gravity, and breathing. So the heart is always moving the blood. But what moves the lymph, especially like in your arms, if you move your arms like this, then you're moving you're pumping the lymph in the axillary area. Same with when we walk, we're pumping the lymph in our legs, because most of it's on the joints. All the lymph nodes are in the joints. But where are the lymph nodes on the joints in the face? Not too many.
No.
So that's why the head tends to get very congested, especially at night. When you're standing up, gravity's bringing everything down to your neck, right? But when you're lying down, now gravity's bringing everything to the back of your head. So in the morning, that's when your head might feel the most congested, is because you've been lying on your back, and all the lymph in your skull kind of hanging out in what I call the sinus deposit area, right? And so your sinuses get very clogged. But again, as you mentioned earlier, the brain is pulsing and moving itself. And so that pulsing is going on, but we can enhance it. We really need to enhance it.
I love that. There's also doing the trampoline,
Yes.
right? It's helpful. And then I have this, I call it the human vibrator.
Yes.
This body.
The shaking sidewalk.
Yes, there you go.
I love it. Well, what I like to recommend is not just the trampoline, because yes, gravity, no gravity, gravity, no gravity. So during that gravity, no gravity, that's when the lymph is mobilized.
Yeah.
And that's why swimming is great. That's why inversions or putting your legs up on the wall is great. Or, you know, if you've got a bloody nose, that's why you put your head back, right? Gravity can help you, but it can also hinder you. But the easiest way to get gravity, no gravity, is with a sports ball.
Oh.
$20, sit on the ball, bounce on the ball,
Oh.
gravity, no gravity, gravity, no gravity. Guess what? You're also sitting right there on your tush, where there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of waste elimination. Most people are a little bit sluggish in the colon and in the pelvis. And so using a sports ball, cheap, convenient, easy, effective, bounce, bounce, bounce. Every time you bounce and you bend your knees, ankles, and thighs, you're mobilizing the lymph. So then all you need to do is move your arms like a chicken. And now you're mobilizing everything. You're going to look a little silly, but you're going to have fun on the ball.
Yeah.
So don't go out and spend a lot of money on a trampoline. You don't really need it.
No. Okay. So teach us a little bit about the massage. Will you show us how to do it, please, with the facial massage?
Yes. So the face massage, instead of going to somebody else and to get a massage from someone else, then you'd be lying down and you'd just be receiving. You can actually do that for yourself. So we're going to start at the end. So we want to open up the gutters of where all the debris in the head is going to go. Everything's going to go from the center to the sides and down to the collarbone. So take your fingertips and you're going to make very tiny little circles. You can try it on your palm and make sure you're not sliding on the skin. Make sure you're just moving the skin, not sliding it. So I can show you on my t-shirt like that, right? So you're not trying to do this. Don't do that. That's too hard. You'll collapse all the capillaries. This shirt is actually 2 layers. It's one layer of fabric on the other. And it's kind of like your lymphatic system in that way. Imagine there's aloe vera in between those 2 layers. And you just want to get the aloe vera to move and mobilize to another location. So we're going to do that right here at the collarbone. And how fast should we go? Should we go as fast as a heartbeat? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, because the water in your body matches the rhythm of the ocean and the womb. And you can feel as we slow down into this lullaby waltz, you start to relax and you're like, oh, that's kind of sleepifying. Yeah, because guess what? You're going to go from sympathetic, fight, flight, to parasympathetic. So you can actually affect your central nervous system through your touch. So now let's go up to where the vagus nerve is. The only place on the body where you can actually touch the vagus nerve is right behind the earlobe on this little outjet of your skull. So right here is the vagus nerve touching place. It's the place you can palpate it. Wow. So how are we going to touch it? In that gentle waltz rhythm we just did on the collarbone, around and around, around and around. And as you go around and around, just slightly shift your fingers down so they're a little lower on your neck, a little lower on your neck. You feel your urge to yawn. And that's okay. And lower on your neck. So we're caterpillaring down the neck to our final destination, which is in the Vater system, is called the terminus. Well, I didn't learn just the Vater system. I learned from Lauren Berry. And I also acknowledge Dr. Bruno Chickley as one of my lead teachers. So once we've cleared that way, we're going to draw that line all the way down from the earlobes to the collarbone. And once we've got that established, We're going to come back to this all the time. So everything we do on the head is going to end up coming down the sides of the neck. So just quickly, you're going to do the chin and down the sides of the neck, and the mouth and down the sides of the neck, and under the cheeks and down the sides of the neck, and over the eyebrows and down the sides.
Can you do circular motions, or can you?
We can, yes. So that's a good question. We can either use those tiny little circles that I showed you at the beginning, circling around, which you might want to do on delicate skin. Or if your skin is moist enough, or you'd like it to be moist enough, you can slowly slide down, especially under the cheekbones. This is a great place to slide down. Slide, 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 very gently, very gently. And where do you go? To the ears. And where does that go? Down the sides of the neck to the finish line.
And you're saying both sides of the ears, right?
Yeah, both sides of the ears, because those lymph nodes that are in there, there's like maybe 40 lymph nodes on each side of your head.
Huh.
There's a ton of them.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there's so many. Each cluster has anywhere from 20 to 40, like under the arms. But by the ears, 20% of all your lymph nodes in your body are by the ears. And so that means there's a tremendous amount there. And that's why we get that feeling of swelling in our throat. That means a battle is going on. That's good. That means our lymphocytes, our T cells, our warriors are fighting a battle. If they don't win, you will get a fever. So once you have a fever, do not do lymph drain.
Interesting.
So that's your contraindication. The bell curve of disease starts off with the sniffles, and then a sore throat, and then you feel coughing, and now all of a sudden you've got a fever, and then slowly that fever goes away. So during the crisis of a disease, the bell curve that goes up, that's when you do not add more garbage to the garbage trucks, because the garbage trucks are trying to take out all this debris, and they're not succeeding very well. So don't add. So that's your contraindication, is if you have an active infection, or you have a fever, or if you've had chemotherapy, you can do it within 4 hours afterwards. But if you're getting radiation therapy, you want to avoid that whole area. So for instance, if you were getting radiation for a throat cancer problem, that would mean this whole quadrant of the body would be off limits until the radiation was done.
Wow, interesting.
Because the radiation makes the skin very thin. And since we're moving the skin and stretching it a little bit, we don't actually want to do that while we're doing the radiation. It overactivates it. So there's definitely times you don't want to do lymph drainage, but in general, it's very safe to do, especially 5, 10, 15 minutes on the head.
And when do you suggest doing it?
So I like to do it first thing in the mornings, because a lot of times the mornings when you're feeling all clogged up. I also like to do it before I go to bed. I also like to do it before I give a speech, or before I get on an airplane, or before I go to an appointment, or after I've done a big workout and I feel like I've gotten a lot of stuff going on, And it's great to do it if you're in the shower and the shower's all steamy and your face is all kind of wet. And then you do your gentle lymph work, and boy, oh boy, you just feel so refreshed. Yeah.
I love it. Love it. So just to recap, so we start here by cleaning out the end. And then just like, I liked your example of you clean out the tubes.
Driveway. Yeah.
Yeah. You clean out the, what is it, on the side of a house with the leaves.
Oh yeah. The gutters.
Thank you. The gutters. You clean out the gutters, right? That's these areas.
Right.
And then you can go to the chin, the nose, and across.
Just think of putting your face into little horizontal stripes.
Okay.
And each horizontal stripe is going to aim towards the ears.
Nice.
And aim towards the ears.
Yeah.
And then eventually you do want to come down the ears. And so the lymph touch is very soft, gentle, rhythmic, stretching the skin, mobilizing fluid. But one of the other things that mobilizes the fluid is myofascial release. And the fascia can be released if you pull on something, just like if we were having a tug of war and we pulled on each other's arms, but slowly but surely we'd feel like our arms were stretching and stretching away, that taffy pull. So that's what you need, is you need the taffy pull. It has to be slow. That's why I love yin yoga. Yin yoga is the only way you can really stretch the fascia. The fascia needs 90 seconds to become thixotropic. What's that? Thixotropy is the ability of your solid skin to become semi-solid, more like gel. And it's almost like, instead of the collagen and elastin lining up like this, they line up like this after you stretch for a while, and that gives you that stretchiness. So the stretchiness is what we can do on the ears. I call it Dumbo ears. I really like it. So I like to pull out both ears at once, but I'll just pull out one so that we
do both.
She'll do both. Okay. So as you're pulling out, you want to get a good grip on the ear in whatever comfortable place it is. And the first direction is straight away from the head. Straight away from the head. And you're going to, as you're talking or making any sound, you're going to hear that sound change because the chamber in your eustachian tube is changing. I might want to yawn, and that's good. So keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. We've only been here like 30 seconds. Okay, so now as you're pulling out, you want to also pull out and down towards your shoulders. Keep pulling, keep pulling. Don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. Oh, and so you're pulling out, down, and now back a little bit. And can you feel like, oh, do your ears hang low? So your ears are getting longer and longer, and your face is feeling softer and softer. And the fascia of your skull is moving away from the head as well. Now, the next thing you can do is start to move your ear in a circle. So grab it and pull it up towards the top, and now bring it back down towards the bottom. Now, you can discover and find a comfortable place for your hand. You can discover if your ear wants to go up and back, up and back, or maybe it wants to go back, forward, and down, back, forward, and down. And so just like Dr. Nikki's doing, if you were doing both at once and you got a good grip and you've got it out, and now you're going to go, one is up and the other one goes up. But it's, again, slow. Remember, we're working with the fluid body.
I'm excited.
We're in the waltz rhythm of the waves of the ocean. And so it's going to go, say, I'm going to talk about my right ear. It's going 12 o'clock.
Oh, super
9 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 3 o'clock. 12 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Wow, super slow.
6 o'clock. 3 o'clock.
Okay, remind us what this does.
So what this does is, imagine that your skull has two balloons, one inside the other. And as you pull on your ears, you're pulling the inside balloon, the outside balloon away from the inside balloon. You're giving a little space. What's happening in that space? Fluid movement. And the fluid now has gravity helping it to mobilize and move it down towards its final destination here. So anything that's a fascia release, and that's a lot of times what I do when I work on the rest of the body, because the whole body can be lymph drained. We know this already, but we're just focused on the head because it's the easiest access for people who don't want a lot of training, don't need a lot of anatomy, just want to be effective. So when we work on lymphatic drainage for the rest of the body, we know that we have to move the fascia too. So for instance, if I had a cut here, say I had one of those tubes in from chemo treatment or anything, and I had a scar, and the scar then made a little dip. And so then I would see this little crease in my arm here, and there would be fluid. The fluid is trying to go from the tips to the torso, from the tips to the torso, from the tips to the torso. And it can't get there because the scar tissue is in the way. And the scar, instead of having the two layers of skin just open like that, it's glued together. So we have to mobilize that top layer away from the bottom layer. And we do that with scar tissue work. So scar work, if I can use your arm,
Yeah.
scar work is usually, we're going to go back and forth, kind of like a Chinese rug burn, an Indian rug burn. So you're pushing one and pulling that. I'm going to exaggerate. So if this was a fresh scar, you wouldn't want to work on it that hard. But if it's an old one, you can work on it pretty hard. So you mobilize it with friction and also plucking. But once that's mobilized, then we would use our gentle touch and pulsing to move that and move it. Where's it going to go? From the tips to the torso. So any of the lymph in your arm, say you got a cut anywhere on your arm, if there's an infection in it, then you're going to see the lymph nodes swelling right here, because that's where all the T cells are doing the battling. Any of the bacteria that's in the arm, and anyone who's had like a spider bite or any kind of nasty bite, they'll see that infection, that red line of infection running all the way up. Where's it going? Where's it going? It's going to the quickest location for the T cells to get it.
Interesting.
So that's another reason that gravity then is your enemy. When your lymph in your arm is messed up, you want to get that arm elevated, right? And so that's a lot of times what a lot of the things we do for the face are not as effective as what we can do for the arms. We can use compression stockings and compression bandages. But the face, there's not a lot we can do that way. And so using our own hands on it more and more often is really going to create more balance, more harmony, because the rest of the body is doing pretty well with the lymph because of all the action that goes on there.
Okay, that makes sense. Wonderful, Marcy. Thank you so much. How can people find you?
I have a website, yogaoftouch.com.
Oh, I like that. yogaoftouch.com.
And the yoga of touch is the wholeness. I think of yoga as being a wholeness or a union. So it's the union of your breath, awareness, intention, movement, and sound. Those 5 elements coming together give you the 5 keys to rejuvenation. And that's what I teach in my yoga of touch. It's not just massage. It's about a whole lifestyle. It's how to get in touch with yourself, with the things you eat, the things you take in mentally, spiritually, physically. All of it is very important, as you already know.
Yeah, I love that. So important. I didn't know this massage technique and the drainage. So that was beautiful. Thank you.
And you'll see that you'll get this when you go and get a facial. A lot of times they're doing this gentle little work and you're going, God, what's that? What is that? And you think, oh, well, I can't feel anything. It must not be doing anything. Well, it is. It's moving debris. Just like if you had water and you had a lot of mud on your arm, if you used water over and over and over, finally the mud would disappear. But if you scrubbed it, maybe you'd only get a couple of patches, or you might even compress the mud into your arm. So that's why the very light touch is so important.
Yeah. Nice. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay. You did great.
Thank you.